And we are back. Welcome, everyone. Happy holidays to all. I hope you're not too pissed off like us men, going out last minute possibly and buying our Mrs. presents. No, I'm not doing that. How are we all?
Awesome.
Yeah. I see Ashley is arrived, but she's not got a camera on, which is explained why anyway. How are you, Ashley?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Half left.
Yeah, well, you know. It's
Exactly.
almost Christmas, Adam. You'll be fine.
Exactly. Hello, Bruce. Hope you are well. Obviously I need to put out it's a trigger warning for people that may experience, because obviously with what we're going to be talking about, alcohol and substance misuse during the holidays. Now, I know me and Christine, we've had our difficulties when it comes to addiction. I don't know about Richard and Clifford, or, well, Ashley as well. But, Clifford, since you're one of the new people here, give a little insight about who you are and how you come across all this.
Yeah. Hello, Clifford Stephen. I'm a founder of Booze Vacation. It's a kind of a men's health and wellness play to kind of bring awareness around regular alcohol use for, that's socially acceptable, super common. I'm in the United States and was from the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. It's in corporate, it's everywhere, it's in college, you get indoctrinated to it. And as you have more success, you're kind of chasing around, doing a bunch of things and trying to have some fun on the weekends, and your physiology is changing, your performance, your blood works, all this is changing, and no one was really addressing it in a meaningful way. Again, we're not targeting alcoholics, but yeah, kind of just that social gray area drinking. I drank for 30 years socially, started in high school, had a lot of fun with it, but it's kind of a moving target with your physiology and tolerance and more responsibilities. So yeah, and obviously there's always a great time to party and get with people, and when you're associating those with alcohol and other things, I think it's a pretty predictive cycle with just a lot of events and lots to do, and there's a lot of looking forward to these events, but at the same time you're probably, if you are regularly drinking, maybe overdoing it with the food, you're kind of off your schedule. It can make things kind of a lot more stressful and a little bit less gratitude because you're kind of just grinding through it. But yeah, it's definitely part of the culture, and it has its place, but it could also kind of diminish the experience as well.
Absolutely, because I know we've all got our experience. Sorry, I'm just reaching for a charger. I know we've all got our experiences. Obviously, with mine, because that's what it's all about. I drank a lot. Once I started, I once stopped. And food, even though I've had people trying to get me to eat, I basically tell them to fuck off, because the drink was more important. But that was my mistake. So Richard, hi. What's your experience?
Hi, Adam. Hi, everybody. I have experience. I've experienced overdoing drugs and alcohol ever since I was really little. My parents abused drugs and alcohol a lot, and I was abused a lot too. And then whenever I was 13, I was always against drugs and alcohol because I seen what it did to other people. And then I started to use then, and I thought it was the best ever because I felt good from it. And then after a while I started getting consequences, and I was okay with that. And then I started getting consequences I wasn't okay with, and I got in a lot of trouble. And then I got clean, and then I wasn't being honest. I was using a lot of drugs and a lot of alcohol, way more than the recommended amount. And I was going to school when I was younger. I was taking handfuls of whatever, pills, LSD, pot. I smoked a lot of pot, and then drank a lot too. And then it really helped. When I look back at it at that time, I think it was a good thing because I was trying to kill myself a lot.
Right.
And then I started to get some help. And I loved your podcast whenever it first came on, and it said, "Hey, the first step is asking for help." I mean, I don't know if it was hard for you guys, man, but it was hard for me. And but once I did, it was a huge relief off of me. I stayed clean for about 5 years, and right at the 4 year mark, I tried to kill myself again. I wasn't dealing with my problems, and that's what it is to me. Like right around the holidays, especially, I go hang out with my family, friends, things like that. I don't know how everyone else's family was, but I did not get along with mine. I didn't like them. It brought up a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts, and I would use drugs and alcohol to escape them and make myself feel comfortable. Self medicate, and then I would overdo it. And I'm like you, Adam. Once I start drinking or once I start using, there's no stopping me. Usually, the law enforcement has to stop me, or the government, or my family can't. I can. I just get real bad off. And then I went back out after I was 5 years clean for 13 more years, still using everything like that. Whenever the last time I quit, my door got kicked in by the DEA and FBI. I'm sure you guys all heard about them, and they weren't real hip to what I was doing and how I was using society. But that's who I cared about, was no one but me using and drinking. That's where I end up at, And then my last drink, I was down in this basement of this person I didn't even know. I was renting this basement from someone, and I'm down there. And not only does my family not want to be around me, or my friends, but it was the first time I could ever remember that I didn't want to be around me. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. But yeah, I really associate that. I go to a lot of recovery meetings and things like that too. And we talk about that. Like when you're at the holidays, have some numbers of some people you can call, have some places you can go to and make a list of like, okay, I'm going to this party at noon. I'm going to schedule a 1:00 meeting with my good friend to call them. So then I have to like check in with someone, you know what I mean? And really like be careful with that. It's a big deal. There's a lot of excuses and a lot of reasons to use, and they're good ones, especially when I'm convincing myself. So it's real good to have some friends in your corner. I know Christine's one of my good friends, and I can call her about stuff too. And there's just tons of people out there going through the same thing that I am, or we are, or however you're hearing this. So it's, yeah, I'm a big believer in taking care of yourself and having a plan.
Absolutely. And yeah, Christine, where do we start with your experience?
Well, the first thing I'd like to say, Adam, is if you're a full-blown alcoholic, a drug user, however you identify with that, okay, you don't need the holidays for an excuse to drink. Okay, you actually now use that as a reason to justify why you drink, why you use drugs. Richard hit the nail on the head. Get those numbers, have somebody to contact. Clifford's on the right track with that, and there is a fine line between the socially acceptable drinking and overdoing it. Now, if you're just overdoing it on the holidays and you're not doing it come, regular, February 13th, then maybe you're okay and you're just socially drinking. That's okay. But if December 24th turns into January or December 31st, January 1st, well, now it's Super Bowl, and now you're finding all those excuses, all those reasons to be drinking, then there's a problem. That's an issue. And for me, when I started, I actually, because I saw what alcohol did to my younger brother, I lost him when I was 16. He was 15 years old. He went from alcohol at a very young age. We raided mom and dad's liquor cabinet. He was taking a tumbler, this big, and 3/4 of it was vodka. The last little splash was orange juice, just because it's the color, at 10, 11 years old, because his body was craving that addiction. He had no idea, and I know there's two separate schools of thought on whether addiction is a learned habit or whether it's hereditary. My life has been that it's hereditary. My grandmother was an alcoholic. I saw what it did to my brother. I had uncles. I had other family members that were alcoholics. So I saw what it did to him, and I said, being the eldest daughter and the only daughter, you go, that's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Well, then college hit, and you start going to those parties, and one thing led to another, and before I knew it, it went from being December 21st to February 13th. Only it lasted the rest of my life till I got clean and sober. I am now clean and sober 8 years. Alcohol was definitely my drug of choice, my favorite drug of choice, but I've done certainly not near as many things as Richard, but there are other addictions that I am clear and clean from. Not just the alcohol, not just I probably have every addiction except gambling. I stay away from gambling. Is that an addiction of mine? Possibly. I don't want to test that theory, so I stay away from it. So it's tough at the holidays. Like the guy said, it's get your numbers, get your help. And Adam, when I did my podcast, that was one of the very biggest things that I always stress to any woman or man that is in an abusive, toxic relationship. It is 3 of the hardest words in the English language, but they will give you the most power when you say them. And they are, I need help.
Yeah.
And when I said that, help poured in. Now, not when I got sober. That was a little different. When I ended up in the hospital, and basically my surgeon said to me, Christine, if you take another drink, you will die. And I was like, again, that was another one of those theories I don't want to test. I kind of like life now. It kind of is not beds and roses, but the other side, I've seen the other side. I've lived the other side, just like Richard, and that's way worse. That's way worse. Life really is truly worth living. Richard found that out. Adam, you see that. You know that life is so much worth living. I mean, our viewers here, they know that. I mean, as much as situations suck out there, life really is worth living. Just get help. Find help.
Yeah. Hi, Pauline. Hi, Gemma. Hi, Sheza. Hi, Bruce. Everyone's coming in. I see Richard Kaufman jumped in and jumped out. He's back. Hey, buddy. All right.
Sorry, I'm late. I was dealing with stuff at lawyers, so I apologize for being late. But hey, I'm here.
It's awesome. I see. Yeah, Brill, Gemma. I had to invite a few of these viewers to this show because some of them actually struggle as well with their alcoholism, or they've got a partner that's an alcoholic, or they've just gone over beer. So it's all about bringing that support, bringing that awareness to everyone. So I'm glad that everybody's here. Richard, you've had, because you're sober as well, over 10 years.
6 years.
No, not you, Richard, the other Richard.
Oh, sorry.
This is going to be awkward.
I'm about to celebrate 36 years January 1st.
There you go. Why don't we actually put, and this is for everybody in the chat as well, why don't you put all your sobriety days in it just to see how far we've actually come? Because obviously me, I'm just going to check now. How awkward of me. I'm 4 months, 29 days. 4 months. So 152 days. Ashley, what about you?
Well, this is going to be the probably last time I'll be able to jump in, and then I have to scoot. But for me, I saw what it did in my family. And even my husband, who has a mother who is an alcoholic, but my family, the holidays especially, when the gatherings happen. And it isn't just the holidays. They don't need an excuse of when they're going to drink and behave the way that they behave. But for me, that was okay, I'm not going to drink. Now, in high school, of course, there were moments where I would have, a drink and it was one or two and that was it. But once my husband and I got together, he very much told me, if you drink and you throw up or are hungover or whatever it is, I'm not taking care of you. I'm not coming to pick you up. You better figure it out. Because he had a no tolerant policy. He was not going to tolerate drinking because of his mom. And I understood that. So we don't consume alcohol. And if we happen to be around people that are drinking, it doesn't bother me, but it's more so it triggers my husband. So it was an awareness, especially over the last couple of years at Christmas, of how family would, like I said, behave, and the swearing that they would let leave their mouths, especially with my children around. And I had an aunt tell me 2 years ago at Christmas, when she was highly intoxicated, to tell my 8-year-old daughter to shut the fuck up because she was talking to her daughter about Santa not being real. That was the last time I was at Christmas, or really a family gathering, if you will, with all of my family. And my 12-year-old son told me, can we leave? I don't want to be around these people anymore. So it's really just recognizing what alcohol does to people. And our adult son, I think, would readily admit that he is probably a high-functioning alcoholic. He is in the Marine Corps. His biological mother was an alcoholic and had drug addiction and all of the things. And he always said, as a teenager, I'm never going to drink. That stuff is disgusting. And now, again, in the Marine Corps, when you're surrounded by that lifestyle all the time, and it's almost something that becomes expected of you to drink with your buddies and do the things, he has done his fair share of drinking. It was one of the reasons why he was in a severe longboarding accident 6 years ago and nearly died. So there's just certain things that I see as somebody who doesn't drink, but being surrounded by it my entire life, from family members, it's not a lifestyle that I want to live. Now I've started to have empathy for people that are struggling with alcohol addictions. I definitely was not empathetic with my mother-in-law, because it was more so, I'm not going to tolerate your behavior, and it's not going to be around my children. So if you don't like that, then that's a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where that's at.
I actually never knew that about Ashley. I absolutely never knew. Says, you learn something new every day, don't you? But thank you to everyone that's actually commenting as well. This is fantastic. But if anyone's got any questions or anything like that, not just about alcohol, but about drugs as well. I'm going to say drugs. Please put them in as well, because I know a lot of us have taken both. But obviously, I've not taken drugs. But yeah, one of them. So, a question for everybody, absolutely everybody. To you, with your experience, what is the difference between when you was taking it? Like, if you got one word to describe it, from when you was intoxicated, shall I say, to now, what one word would you describe how you come from it?
Extraordinary.
Asshole. I was an asshole.
Anyone else?
I might say,
Go ahead, Clifford.
I'm going to use two words, maybe freedom and presence.
Christine?
My one word is unrecognizable. The woman
Ashley.
I am today.
One word. But I think she has to go, I don't know. Gotta go. She's gotta go. That's her words. But yeah, absolutely free, Shazza. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant how all this has come on. And obviously, let's all have a discussion anyway. Ella? Ella? No, alive. Yeah, I'd say for me, it's freedom. Freedom, because I'm like you, Richard. I was an absolute arsehole when I was intoxicated. I was an arsehole. And to be honest, I can admit it. When I was intoxicated, I was abusive. I was. I think we all were in some way. And not just abusive to others, but abusive to ourselves. Because we all thought it was good behaviour, and possibly was being influenced by assholes. But glad we've put that aside and we're growing from it.
No.
It's a life lesson learned. Yeah. So if anyone's got any questions, please put them forward.
Well, I think that something for me that I talk about all the time is the 12 steps. Not following the 12 steps got me kicked out of my house. Following the 12 steps got me into a brand new house. And I believe that the promises come true when you work for them. So I think instead of telling my history, I tell my story. And I think it's so important for young people, not young people, I mean, people young in sobriety, that they kind of find somebody that they can look up to and aspire to see how it's just not drinking, that there's something else to not drinking, but also having a great life while not drinking. And I think that's so important, because sometimes when you go to AA meetings or NA, whatever, you see these people, all they do is not drink, but they're still an asshole. They still don't have a job. They still don't have a good marriage, or they don't have anything else going for them except not drinking. And I don't think that's any kind of life to live. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I think those are the people that haven't found true sobriety yet, as you stated. They're probably the people that will relapse. Okay? And we all relapse. At some point, there is some sort of relapse. My other thought is, especially with drugs are concerned, nasty. And there's some comments in there. It's nasty what drugs can and will do, not just your brain, your body, but your brain. Your physical chemistry alters, and alcohol will do that as well. I mean, clearly, you said you were an asshole when you were drinking. We all had those not nice words when we were drinking, as compared to who we are now. I think there needs to be a little grace and a little love with those people that are struggling, that have those addictions, because those addictions take total control and hold of your body. your mind, your actions. Adam, you remember, you're still, as Richard said, young in your sobriety, 4 months. I'm 8 years in mine, and I still remember what I was like.
Yeah.
If someone were there to have a little bit of more love and grace and understanding, and that's the part that we don't have. We see those people, whether they're homeless, whether they're family that are total drug addicts, total alcoholics, and we dismiss them. We push them aside. We put on our blinders that we don't see them. It's easier for family to say, no, I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. And I get it, because my ex was an alcoholic, and when he got where's my camera? When he got drunk and high, he became very abusive. So I get that there's two sides to that. But again, like I said, if we had a little bit more love and grace for family, maybe people would get cleaner and sober, more sober sooner, or soberer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if it was just me that saw her camera pixelating. but it's as it is. Obviously, that was just Ashley saying that her phone overheated, so she had to go. But Pauline has made some fantastic comments, and I hope she lets me speak about them, because there is. And I've been speaking to Bruce as well, and I want to touch on why we drink, why we take drugs, and it's not just because, fair enough, I get it, it's a choice. We're possibly being influenced and bullied into doing these things, but it could be covering up to something as well. Like, it could be, for example, underlying trauma that we've experienced, childhood abuse. It could be domestic violence. It could even be the grief of losing a loved one. Like, for example, like Pauline, she lost someone she loved. I've lost someone I've loved. But I think we all do. And I remember when Kerry sadly lost her nana as well. She went straight to alcohol. And I think we use that to ease the pain, thinking the pain's just going to go away through bottle or can, but it's not. It makes it worse. So why do we turn to it so bad?
Well, for me, it was I had my first drink at 11, and I was full-blown alcoholic by the age of 13. But for me, it was as soon as I tasted the liquor and my face got warm, I could become another person. I could become Rick, and I could become outgoing, gregarious, smart, funny. And I didn't have to be Richard, the one that was shy, the one that was confused. So for me, it was I drank to become another person, and then eventually I became the other person that nobody liked and I didn't like either. So and I love that there's a quote that says, "There's no such thing as crazy, it's just levels of pain." And I think the same thing with alcoholism. It's there's no such thing as an we all struggle with pain,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't realize it. Most of it all comes from childhood trauma from the ages of 3 and 13.
Was that a child?
Sorry, that might have been me, Adam. Yeah, he's behind
There's
me.
always
Sorry. Right.
Like,
Well,
obviously what Kerry's put, and even Gemma as well. Kerry started drinking because of social pressure to let her hair down. Could that have been underlying trauma, or could she have been influenced? I don't know.
I think everyone has their beliefs on why we become alcoholics. Again, there's a chemical imbalance in there, and we're looking for something. until, they can actually find what that chemical imbalance is missing, that we turn to. I think there's a whole bunch of reasons, Adam. It's not just that chemical imbalance. It's probably like Clifford said, the physiological that goes on, the chemicals that may be missing in there. There's many of us that have an issue. That's as many possibilities of why we turn to drugs and alcohol. Mm-hmm. And I think at some point we just have to say, okay, if we can't find the underlying reason, and we're going to go, myself, I said, okay, well, I must be an alcoholic because of all the abuse that I went through as a young girl. Okay. That's the reason I turned to it. But at some point we have to own that responsibility and say, okay, you know what? I've gotten to this point where, as Clifford does, okay, that he recognizes that fine line before just social drinking to crossing over and becoming a full-blown alcoholic. We have to be responsible for our own actions and say, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Just like Richard said, the other Richard Kossmeyer said that we find those reasons to also become sober and to become clean. Is it family? Is it loved ones? Is it hearing somebody? Let's look at the other side of it. Okay, so I'm a full-blown alcoholic. I admit it. I'm not exactly asking for help yet, but what do? This right here, what you're doing, Adam, by bringing attention to this, look at the comments. Everybody there has or knows somebody.
I'm fucking loving this.
This is what brings the issue to light, to talk about it openly and honestly, and to get people to realize, do I have a problem or not? Do I need to seek help or not? Who do I talk to? Who can I trust with my issues? Who can I, is it my priest? Is it you? Is it me? Is it, the other panelists here? Find somebody to talk to
Absolutely.
Be able to share that, okay, this is what's going on. This is what I'm feeling. This is what this is what's happening.
That's really
cool.
Cool.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, which obviously, like even today, me, Kerry, and the kids went to go. Well, not all the kids, but we went to go and see my mum, who she's the one that actually got me drinking in the very first place anyway. But obviously, I made amends with her, all that, which is brilliant. And while we were stood in town, middle of town, obviously Kerry was talking to her, no problem. And I was just stood there, and I was doing all that. And the thoughts were saying, why don't you just pop into that supermarket, go and get a bottle of wine, or go and get a crate of beer or stuff like that, or possibly a bottle of whiskey, because that's what you normally do around Christmas anyway. So I thought, no, I don't want to. So I was repeating to myself, I'm stronger than this. And I was also reminding myself of what someone said to me, the question, what is your worst drink? And I was talking about all these alcohols, and he went, no, not alcoholic, the worst drink. So I went, all right, tap water. I don't drink tap water. He went, all right, picture alcohol as tap water. And that's exactly what I did today.
That's really brilliant. I want to jump in and squeeze in just I'm like on the edge of my seat. And I don't know if you were talking to me earlier, but you said you were an asshole like Richard. I don't know if it was him or me, but I was an asshole whenever I was drinking as well. So yeah, it got both on there. And I heard Richard whenever you said, whenever we put a plug in the jug or, put the stash away or whatever, that we're still an asshole, and it's true. And whenever I first got sober, I made a list of all the things that was going to make my life better: a new house, a bank account, a good-looking wife, kids, all this stuff, and it was all outside stuff. And this program is what you're talking about to me is it's an inside job.
Yep.
And that's what these steps and that's what help get you is to look in, and then no matter what you have or where you're at, you're happy. And then I love what we got some comments in here too of people that have lost people from drugs and alcohol. I don't know if you guys know anyone that has died from drugs and alcohol. I've had a lot of family members, a lot of friends, and almost myself several times, you know, and that's to me like what this disease wants for me is death, you know, jails or institutions. I've been to 2 of them already, you know, and I know what's next for me. But you guys talked about, Christine, that was so brilliant of, you know, this disease is the disease, you know, and I have a lot of reasons why I drank. You know, I got abused a lot when I was growing up, enough to where I was removed by the household by the government at 11, and then to another household where I was abused in a lot of the same ways. You know, a lot of trauma, a lot of nightmares, a lot of trust issues, all that stuff. And I blame that all on my drinking, of why I drink and use drugs. And everybody, even when I got caught from the police or my parents or anyone, they all were like, yeah, that is why you drink. And it's no wonder why you do. And it was a free pass, but I kept on the hook. There was no freedom in that. But once I took responsibility, you know, for my life, for who I am, and none of that stuff was why I drank like I drank. I drank like I drank and did drugs like I did, because I'm an addict and an alcoholic. Yeah. And I'll do anything to not have to feel what I have going on inside, or anyone for that. I'll add that one in there. I'll use anyone as well too. But it's an inside job. If I want to get healthy, if I want to have freedom, like you said, Adam, you know, if I want to have freedom in life, if I want to have an extraordinary life, it's an inside job. And a guy that I'm coaching right now, we were talking about this. I'll end on this. He was talking about this the other day, but he was blaming all these people in his life for how hard his life was, his probation officer, this person. And I was like, that's where I get caught up at, because I have evidence, I'm right, and I get other people to go in on it with me. And I get them to buy in on it. And then now I'm complete, and that's what it is. But anytime I'm pointing the finger at someone, you know, I got people pointing right back at me. It's an easy thing. And no matter what it is or how right I am or how many people agree, that's just a tell for me.
You know, and Rich, and you guys are lucky. You guys got 2 Riches on one conversation. So this is amazing.
That's brilliant, isn't it? That is brilliant.
But something I want to say is, you know, I've been sober, like you said, going on 36 years. But it wasn't until I had a conversation with the amazing Ed Milet, where Eddie said, Richard, nothing has ever happened to you. It has all happened for you. And everything is a teachable moment. You don't have post-traumatic stress disorder. You have post-traumatic growth. So guys, just think about that. Whatever happened, it didn't happen to you. It happened for you. So you can help somebody else get out of their shit. And I think that's what we're all doing, is helping somebody else get out of their shit. So we can all use that post-traumatic growth instead of post-traumatic stress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any feedback, Clifford?
Yeah, I'll just, I don't have experience with alcoholism, but again, socially, and you guys are asking, why do people pick it up? And is it trauma or is it society? And I'm in the US, Adam, I think you're in the UK, but yeah, it's super prevalent in our society. You get indoctrinated with it in, you know, high school and college, you have wild times, you have these peak experiences. And yeah, it really forms, you know, some really solid nostalgia. And like Christine mentioned, I think there's definitely a fair amount of people out there with a genetic predisposition to, you know, to be able to drink more. And if you're a guy, that's pretty cool that you can, you know, hold your liquor. And, you know, it's everywhere. It's at work, it's at play, it's at 1-year-old kid birthday parties. So if you're not kind of, you know, paying attention, it's really easy to get sucked in. And even if you're not an alcoholic and you have your stuff together, you know, in air quotes, we could still, you know, you guys are talking about a lot of symptoms, but, you know, it really just diminishes kind of every function, organ, and system in your body, your sleep, how you feel. And it's really easy to get stuck in a bunch of unconscious kind of bad habits and decisions just because, you know, you just don't feel as good. You're a little stressed. You're a little more unproductive. It's rewiring your brain. and changing your neurochemistry. And so, yeah, I just don't think people understand, generally speaking, kind of how deep that rabbit hole goes when it comes to just look and feel on a daily basis. And that's well within socially acceptable levels. And so, and then, yeah, with tolerance and age, you want to drink a little bit more to find that buzz. And then, yeah, you're getting more of the pain and suffering and less of the pleasure. And so it's easy, even if you're not, going crazy on it, it could still really diminish your quality of life and really precipitate a bunch of, health problems. And so, kind of like Richard Kaufman was saying, I think, for a lot of guys, it's kind of part of your operating system and your identity. And so you take that away and it's like, okay, what the hell, how the hell am I supposed to roll? And so I think so we kind of just try to encourage some of this education and awareness around it and really kind of build up kind of some of these better, healthier habits to get, kind of you back to yourself. Cause like I said, I think it really diminishes people and they get used to it because you're used to what you're used to, but then they don't realize that they're not looking and feeling as good and acting as good. And so, yeah, there's a lot of benefits by, kind of, taking extended breaks from it, even if you don't think you really have a problem, because like I said, a lot of this stuff is subtle and it's very socially acceptable, but you kind of just get used to looking and feeling like crap. And, it could be, you can learn how to have fun without it, but you have to practice and you have to get, it's not cutting back. It's not the 1 month. Science says you could easily take a guy 4 to 6 months for just their neurochemistry to get back online. So yeah, you really have to have a solid game plan and keep your head down and stay out of your head. Cause like you guys said, it's pretty easy to talk yourself out of it. Obviously your buddies will probably be giving you shit. And so, you have to kind of have your story straight on what the hell you're doing and why, or you're just going to get kind of sucked back into that. And then, yeah, some people in that gray area kind of slip further, or even if they don't, really bad things can still happen when it comes to your relationships or your health or accidents or anything like that. So it's really a tricky substance to navigate. And even though all the science is coming out and saying, oh yeah, no amount is healthy and, cancer risk and all this, I think it's still, it's generational. I think some of the younger generations, they're not as turned on by it, but I think there's, kind of my peers that are 35 to 55 plus, I think it's still pretty common practice and still a way to cut loose. But like I said, it's the return on investment is pretty crappy as you get older and your tolerance builds up. So it's something to experiment with, consider kind of taking these longer breaks to kind of see how you like it. Cause a lot of people will like looking and feeling better if they can, even if they're not an alcoholic.
Absolutely. I just want to pick up on this Stephen Boyle's comment. I know exactly who it is. This Stephen, he's right. Not everybody relapses. And I admit that if they don't, if they've got the right strategies and the right people around them. This Stephen, even though he's going through sobriety himself, he's obviously sober with many years. He WhatsApps me asking how I am and hope I have a great day every single morning. It doesn't matter what it is, every morning. So big up to Stephen, and thank you for being an amazing support person. So yeah, because I've never had someone like that before, who just texts me every single day, because I'm always the one reaching out to people. I'm thinking nobody reaches out to me, but people like Stephen, Christine as well, Richard Kaufman as well, even Gemma, people just reach out, and I think it's beautiful. It shows the type of community we want to be part of that we never got used to in the first place.
Can I speak on relapse real quick?
Go for it. Go for it.
I'm an OG. That means I'm an old guy.
We all are.
I got sober at 20. I'm 50. I'll be 56, and I haven't had a drink since 1989. So relapse does not have to be a part of recovery. And the reason why I say that, a lot of people that I've hung out with in meetings, they said, hey, I'm going to go out one more time. They never came back. They never came back to that chair. So for me, when I sponsor people, I tell them, listen, relapse does not have to be a part of your recovery. You don't have to go back out, because a lot of times if you go back out, you are not coming back in. And I think sometimes we have to have that love, that compassion, but we also have to have that old cranky guy in the room saying, hey, bro, you really don't need to go out tonight to the bar. Why don't we go hit a meeting together and go get some coffee afterwards? Because a lot of people that relapse, they don't come back. And that's just a matter of fact. You know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I had one of you guys in my 12-step program. And by the way, OG also stands for old girl. So I will be 60 in June, gentlemen. So it is possible to get sober no matter what age. Absolutely.
It is. It is. And that's what's
I agree with Richard that relapse. I didn't relapse. Okay. Although, there are some AA gurus and the OGs that will tell you that you will exchange one addiction for another. Now, what they do encourage you to do is find a good, healthy, as Clifford was talking about, addiction. Okay, a good, healthy addiction, healthy foods, working out at the gym, finding a hobby, things like that. I traded my addictions. I mean, I'm as Richard Kossmeyer said, we're always addicts. We're not recovering. We are always addicts.
Yeah.
I'm always an alcoholic. I'm always an addict. It's that it's now I choose what I'm addicted to and what I want to put into my life. For me, for some people it's religion. They want religion in their life instead of for some they are committed. There are people that I've seen in AA groups that they are committed to going every single day, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day. They will find those meetings because that is their new addiction. They want that what they were missing in their life. For me, I still smoke cigarettes. That's one of my addictions, without a doubt. Chocolate, definitely my addiction. Okay. But I know to keep the chocolate within reason. Okay. And of course, once you get older and, the doctors tell you, But
I want to add to that. I want to add to that, Christine, because you have to be very careful with when you put one addiction down and you look for something else to replace that. With me, straight away, and I admit that I picked up food. Because that's what you do. You pick up food. It could be whatever it was. Chocolate, crisp, cakes, takeouts, whatever. Okay, even Kerry knows what I'm like. But the thing is, I tried doing 100 days, 100 meetings every single day. 1 meeting a day. I did 23 meetings in 23 days, and I burnt out. Because of all that information you had to process. So I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
But I also want to say, everybody, because if you ever, I got into a big brawl, not a physical brawl, but a verbal brawl around a Thanksgiving dinner one time, because they talked about my addiction, and I just went around the table and I'm like, you're addicted to sex, you're addicted to cell phones, you're addicted to cigarettes, you're cheating on your husband, he's cheating on you. And it was interesting. But the average person, now listen to this, the average person checks their messages and their emails up to 500 times a day. If that's not an addiction, then you tell me what an addiction is or addiction's not. So everybody's addicted to something. Sometimes you just have to pick up the right addiction, like Christina's saying.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, can I just mention Gemma Easter? I know you're in the comments as well, and I was hoping you came up in camera, but I know she's going to put a laugh. She's going to laugh, and she's going to put something in the comments to this response. She is addicted to whinging about her car. I know she is with the conversation we had yesterday. So she'll be laughing. I know she will. But obviously, she's brilliant anyway. But Shezza with chocolate sweets, etc. It's all because we're craving the sugar from the alcohol. Yes. Hang on a minute. Hang on. I just have to rub my eyes a minute because Kerry's just admitted something, which I don't think she'd ever do. Yeah, she's addicted to shopping. There you go. Which has been denying for about 2 decades. There you go. My God, don't go there.
Adam. Love and grace.
Hey, I'm all peace and harmony, love.
There you go. Peace and harmony, love and grace.
You already knew I was, yeah. Oh, here we go. But this is fun, isn't it? What is the point in focusing on the negative when it comes to alcohol and substance abuse of how much it impacts us? Yeah, we're assholes when we're influenced, but when we've come out of all that, bringing this new character, new self, we can have a laugh. I'm pigs, Kerry. Shut up. So, right. What feedback would you give your younger self who is still intoxicated?
Oh, that's easy. I'll go first. That's easy.
Yeah.
And I've actually been asked this several times, Adam. I would not change a thing. I would not change a thing. I am the person I am today, which is one hell of a woman. Okay. And what I stand for and the people I stand for, I would not be that woman today if I didn't go through the shit I went through. It's the past. It's the past. I can't change it. I don't bring it with me. I talk about it to bring light to it, to bring understanding to it. I share my story so that people know that they are not alone. But I would not change a thing. I love the woman I am today.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Are you sorry to yourself for putting yourself through all of that?
Now, that's a different question. You're asking me if I have regrets.
Yeah.
And I don't. No. I don't, because I've learned so much in not only, all the things that caused the abuse, all the things that made me react to that abuse, the reason I drank, the reason I did drugs, the reason I had sex, the reason everything. I do not regret any past of my life. No. I don't. I just don't regret it. I've learned so much from every aspect of that. And that's what I teach now. That's what I, encourage people to don't let it change and make you who you can become today.
Yeah.
The person we are today, and we've all said it, not only we were assholes back then, but who are we today? I was definitely an asshole back then, without a doubt. I was mean. I was nasty. I was promiscuous. I was a bitch. I wanted to hurt every single man possible without realizing that's what I was doing. Not today. Today, I am unrecognizable from that woman. Yeah. And I want to be that woman tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. And I want others to be able to see that they too can become that future person that they want to be. It's possible. The 5 of us are living proof of this. And others in the chats, we are living proof that it is possible. It can be done.
Well done, Stephen.
No.
Yeah. So, what about Richard Koss?
Well, that's a brilliant question. I was thinking about that, Adam, and I'm with Christine on that. Like, I love my life today. Is there some things I would change? I mean, maybe not. But if I was going to go back and say something to myself, it would be, "You are loved." And I think that would be it, right? I was always just searching for that, and okayness and comfortability in my own skin, and you know, that was my search. That was my journey.
Absolutely. Richard Kaufman,
Well,
the comeback coach.
I went, from being a loser to being a winner. I went from being a dope dealer to being a hope dealer. So
Yes.
I don't regret anything in my past, because that means if I didn't do those things, I wouldn't be able to help people that are going through what they're going through today. So God had a plan for me. Now I'm just trying to help other people and get through it, because you can't really tell people how to get through the fire unless you've been through the fire, and you can reach down and pull that person up. So if all these things didn't happen to all 5 of us, we wouldn't be sitting here on this day as today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Clifford, I've got a new question for you since you haven't got the experience with it. When you've got
I'd say I'd have a similar experience as far as kind of some regrets, but ultimately a lot of good lessons that led me to the path of again, trying to be healthy while regularly drinking and getting older and thinking I could keep up this game and spending all this extra time with my health and wellness protocols, trying to keep that going, and then just basically beating the shit out of myself and feeling pretty crappy. And then that, it seemed like a pretty dumb idea at the time. Like, it was kind of obvious, but that experience was really impactful because I was able to figure out how to enjoy life without it and share it with others. Because like I said, I think it's super common for my peers to do the same thing. It's kind of like go big on the weekends and get your gym membership and have a kale salad here and there and think it's going to work out. But I kind of was able to see the lines in the matrix, so to speak. And so, that was really beneficial. And it's really nice to be able to share that, awareness with guys that, hey, taking a long break from alcohol is actually not a dumb idea. There's a lot of benefits. And like I said, I just think it becomes pretty foreign nature with the typical dude. This is kind of like, hey, I don't have a problem. That means I can keep doing it for as much as I want, whenever I want, and, no harm, no foul. And it's really not totally the whole story there. But so I think, like I said, I definitely kind of kicked the crap out of myself for way longer than I was needed to, strain relationships, strain my health. But ultimately, I think it led to a good epiphany, and I'm really happy where I'm at as well, like all you guys are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, Richard, stay on after this. Richard Kaufman. I mean, right. This is to everyone with my feedback. I've got no regrets, and that's thanks to Anthony Hopkins. But have I fucked up? Yeah. Am I sorry? No. I'm actually not sorry, because that is a lesson that I'm teaching myself every single day. That we go through shit in order for us to grow. And that's exactly what it is. Obviously, we've all got skeletons in our closet. What about my kids? What about my kids?
That you're teaching them those good life lessons, Adam.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for all the aggression, all the resentment I've been showing, because that's me teaching who I am. And where's the other Richard gone?
I think he had to go.
All right, okay. But yeah, it's just as it is. And now I'm a new person. Now I'm in this new character. Now I've made all these amends that I'm supposed to have met. Someone rang me on Facebook today, and obviously we had a falling out a couple of years ago, and obviously he was an addict as well, and we actually went face to face on camera because we obviously couldn't do it in person because he's in America, I'm in UK, and we made amends there and then. So that was another amends, which I think is fucking brilliant, and he's thinking about coming back on to having his own show on the Warriors anyway in the new year, which is brilliant. Called Straight, Sane and Sober. So that's brilliant, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and I'm loving this new life. And it's all about just keeping moving forward and stop living in the past, because past ain't gonna help you heal. It's not. So let's just keep going, keep moving forward, and let's keep kicking ass. So on that note, thank you everyone for coming on. Thank you everyone in the comments. We've been fucking brilliant. Please subscribe to us. Let's get this video shared. And yeah, I hope everyone has a freaking good Christmas. Brilliant end to 2024. And we will see you in January. With
Merry
some
Christmas.
Merry
New
Christmas,
content.
Adam and Carrie.
some
Merry
new content
Christmas,
coming your
guys.
way come January.
All right. Bye,
So,
guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.